Housewives Bozoma St. John brands Kyle Richards the most two-faced cast member. Bozoma St. John has been a breath of fresh air on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 14. After years of failed casting auditions, it's clear she has staying power and will be with the Bravo hit for the years to come. There's so much storyline potential because she's unafraid to speak her mind, which has earned her the ire of Garcelle Beauvais and Kyle Richards. Bozoma came into the season with minimal connections to the cast, but carved out a surprising bond with Dorit Kemsley. Bozoma understood a lot was happening between Dorit and the other ladies, but the pair clicked from the get-go despite certain cast members trying to turn her against her newfound friend. During a recent Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen appearance, Bozoma was put in the hot seat to play a game that promised juicy intel about how she feels about her co-stars. It's no surprise that she said Kyle's name when she was asked which cast member was the most two-faced. Kyle has had a rough season on ROE. Kyle isn't having the best season, and many believe she's struggling with her crumbling reign as the group's queen bee. Kyle is being held accountable for her actions for the first time in a long time. Previously, she could shift the blame and the conversation because she had control of certain situations. Although Bozoma hasn't been immersed in much drama throughout ROE Season 14, she fits into the cast like a glove, thanks to her commentary and impressive accomplishments. However, there have been questions about whether she'll walk away from ROH after a single season following a recent social media post in which she said she quit, something she had been working on over the last year. Has Bozoma St. John already quit ROH? There's no official confirmation that this was related to ROH, but it could be linked to the myriad business endeavors in which Bozoma is involved. It's hard to imagine her revealing her exit from ROH as the season is airing, because that would likely go against the ironclad NDAs the cast signed to get on the show in the first place. However, things could change in the final episodes of the season, which could indicate why Bozoma may want to leave the reality series after a one-season stint. All we can do is tune into the series as it airs for answers, but we're sure Kyle will fire back about being dubbed the most two-faced cast member by Bozoma. Kyle famously quit filming for a week after a spa day that resulted in her in a screaming match with her co-stars. Bozoma St. John had always been a trailblazer. Known for her brilliance in marketing and her radiant personality, she was also a woman unafraid to speak her mind. When rumors began swirling about her joining the cast of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, fans were eager to see how her dynamic energy would shake things up in the land of luxury and drama. Little did anyone know, Bozoma was about to make waves that would reverberate through Beverly Hills like an earthquake. From her very first scene, Bozoma made her presence known. At a glamorous dinner party hosted by Dorit Kemsley, she arrived in a stunning gold gown that shimmered under the chandeliers, her smile as dazzling as her ensemble. The ladies were immediately intrigued. Kyle Richards, ever the self-appointed queen bee of the group, was quick to sidle up to her. "You look amazing, darling," Kyle cooed, her tone syrupy sweet. "We're so thrilled to have you join us." Bozoma smiled warmly. "Thank you, Kyle. It's been an interesting transition into this world, but I'm here for the experience." "Oh, you'll fit right in," Kyle assured her. But something about Kyle's tone struck Bozoma as a touch too polished, too rehearsed. She filed the observation away, her years in corporate America having taught her how to spot authenticity, or the lack thereof. The evening unfolded with the usual housewives' theatrics. Dorit's over-the-top decor was critiqued, Erika Jayne dropped a few icy one-liners, and Sutton Stracke managed to turn an innocuous comment into a near catastrophe. But Bozoma remained poised, watching the dynamics with a sharp, discerning eye. She noticed how Kyle navigated the group with the precision of a seasoned politician, switching between supportive friend and subtle instigator with remarkable ease. The real fireworks began a few weeks later during a trip to Cabo. The trip had all the hallmarks of classic ROH. Luxurious accommodations, flowing tequila, and an undercurrent of tension that seemed ready to ignite at any moment. It all came to a head during a poolside lunch when Garcelle Beauvais brought up a sensitive topic: Kyle's tendency to meddle in everyone else's business. Catastrophe. But Bozoma remained poised, watching the dynamics with a sharp, discerning eye. She noticed how Kyle navigated the group with the precision of a seasoned politician, switching between supportive friend and subtle instigator with remarkable ease. The real fireworks began a few weeks later during a trip to Cabo. The trip had all the hallmarks of classic RHOB8. Luxurious accommodations, flowing tequila, and an undercurrent of tension that seemed ready to ignite at any moment. It all came to a head during a poolside lunch when Garcelle Beauvais brought up a sensitive topic: Kyle's tendency to meddle in everyone else's business. "Kyle, I love you, but you do have a habit of stirring the pot," Garcelle said, her voice calm but firm. Kyle's eyes widened in feigned innocence. "What? Me? Stir the pot? Garcelle, I'm just being a good friend. If I see something that needs addressing, I'm going to bring it up. That's what friends do." Bozoma couldn't hold back any longer. "Kyle, with all due respect, there's a difference between being a good friend and being two-faced." The table fell silent. All eyes turned to Bozoma, whose expression remained calm but resolute. "Excuse me," Kyle said, her voice rising slightly. "You have this way of saying one thing to someone's face and another behind their back," Bozoma continued. "You frame it as concern or friendship, but it often feels like you're just planting seeds of discord." The other women exchanged wide-eyed glances, sensing that they were witnessing the start of something explosive. Kyle's face flushed. "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I've always been upfront with everyone here. If I said something about someone, it's because I care about them." "Is that what you call it?" Bozoma replied, arching an eyebrow. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks a lot like manipulation." "You're great at playing both sides, Kyle. I'll give you that. But eventually, that kind of behavior catches up with you." Kyle's jaw tightened. "You've been here 5 minutes, Bozoma. Maybe get to know me before making judgments." "Oh, I've been watching," Bozoma said smoothly. "And it's not just me who sees it. Isn't that right, Garcelle? Sutton?" Garcelle hesitated, clearly torn between loyalty and honesty. Sutton, however, seized the opportunity. "Well, I mean, Kyle does have a way of navigating situations that can sometimes feel strategic," Sutton said, choosing her words carefully. "Strategic?" Kyle repeated, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Is that the new buzzword for being a good friend?" "Kyle, let's be real," Garcelle interjected. "You do have a habit of saying things behind people's backs and then acting innocent when it comes out. It's not always malicious, but it does create a lot of unnecessary drama." The discussion grew increasingly heated, with Kyle doubling down on her defense and Bozoma standing her ground. By the end of the lunch, lines had been drawn. Bozoma's boldness had both impressed and unsettled the group. For Kyle, the confrontation was a clear declaration of war. In her confessional, Kyle let loose. "Bozoma comes in here, acting like she knows everything about everyone. She's been here for what, 5 minutes? She doesn't know the history, the dynamics. If she thinks she can come for me, she's got another thing coming." Bozoma, however, had no regrets. In her own confessional, she explained, "I've dealt with all kinds of personalities in my career. Kyle's not unique. She's just louder about it. I'm not here to play games. If something's off, I'm going to call it out." The fallout from the Cabo confrontation rippled through the rest of the season. Kyle, feeling threatened by Bozoma's candor and popularity, began subtly rallying the other women to her side. Meanwhile, Bozoma's directness won her fans both within the group and among viewers. Social media buzzed with hashtags like #TeamBozoma and #TwoFacedKyle, with fans taking sides in the escalating feud. By the time the reunion rolled around, the tension between Kyle and Bozoma had reached a boiling point. Host Andy Cohen didn't waste time addressing the elephant in the room. "Bozoma, you called Kyle two-faced during the Cabo trip," Andy began. "Do you stand by that statement?" Bozoma nodded without hesitation. "I do. And I think the season speaks for itself." Kyle has a way of spinning situations to her advantage, and it's not always done with the best intentions. Kyle shook her head, her frustration evident. I'm not perfect, but I've always tried to be a good friend. Bozoma's interpretation of my actions says more about her than it does about me.